last week on Epic, we had posted a conversation with Laura, founder of Maison Tess, who told me how she had built an ethical and inclusive supply chain by working with a fourth generation family business, the oldest mill actually in Portugal. And this week we had Sheena from Made with Local, who again has been running this for a decade now and works with local farmers and social enterprises. They are part of Made with Local's supply chain. So instead of outsourcing their supply chain to countries with labor intensive practices, both of them decided to take the harder and probably the more expensive route for their supply chain. And that brings me to my first question, Eliza. So why do you think suppliers are an important stakeholder for a business?
So just as we encourage consumers to, put your money where your mouth is and think of conscious spending, the same is true for business owners. So where you spend your money in your business says a lot about you and what your values are.
Right, right. No, it's interesting. Like you have to sort of switch gears and think like a customer when you're dealing with your suppliers. And we have spoken about it before as well. We know that newer brands are less process driven. They have more freedom and flexibility in terms of every business decision that they make. So what do you think are some of the steps that someone who's just getting started with their business can take towards building an ethical supply chain from scratch?
So to start from scratch, I suggest that business owners write down what their values are, and then they can find suppliers that match those. So even anything from like accounting software, shipping, manufacturing, you have enough options now in the market that you can research companies and identify your own values and then match companies that also share those. I think the other thing that's important to consider is any risks to your business. So if you're, looking at environmental things that are big for your business, you're going to want to make sure that a supplier isn't posing a risk to that by making poor environmental choices. So when you look at that kind of value risk, taking both of those into account, an example is, if a woman or minority owned business is important to you, companies that are B Corp certified or have a positive environmental impact, there's a lot of choices within accounting, shipping, manufacturing, if you do your business. So for example, for me, I've taken the 15% pledge, which says that 15% of our supplier dollars go to Black owned businesses. And I also look for, female owned businesses or other companies that I want to support and realize that I can spend money to support those businesses.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you cited your example because a lot of times, at least it happens with me, when we think of suppliers, we think of like product-based businesses, but our service-based businesses also, like you and I, have suppliers, like various services that we are making use of. And lastly, so how can brands build a more inclusive relationship with their suppliers, in your opinion?
So I think that the first thing is knowing, who your suppliers are. I think if you're not a newer business, you've been in business a couple of years, you have suppliers that you depend on, that you have a good relationship with. I recommend that people write them down. I know that like accounting softwares, you can download a list of suppliers, and then just start reaching out to them. You can say, hi, we're thinking about our environmental impact. We'd love to talk about yours. You can do that through a survey or even just an email. I think, like we talked about in the last video, do it in a way that makes sense for your business. So if you're having regular dialogue with suppliers, add it to them. If you send emails to suppliers, email them. You can, do a supplier code of conduct. You can say, these are our values. What are yours? And do it that way if you want. Hosting a roundtable, something that is already a way that you would approach a customer or a supplier, and then figuring out a way to talk about your values and sort of use that as a stepping off point to see what theirs are.
Right. So you have to do your homework, before approaching these suppliers.
Yeah, I think it's really important to know where you stand, or else you're just gonna, swing to whatever supplier wants. And it's easy to get, kind of caught up in those conversations and just say, oh, we agree. But, you should go in knowing where you stand. And I think most businesses are interested in working with like-minded suppliers. At the end of the day, we all want the same things. We want happy customers, happy employees, and then use that as a jumping off point and a way to build a stronger relationship.
Right, right. No, having those shared values is definitely the key, and I think that's where we connected as well, like making this planet a better place to live. So thanks a lot, Eliza, for sharing all those insights.
You're welcome.